So, hello everyone. My name is Nicholas, and I'm going to talk to you about my student exchange in the US, and especially why I did this and how I did this. And we're going to see some more interesting things. After that, the presentation should be around 15 minutes, including questions, if you have any at the end. So, first of all, why did I go in the US for 1 year? Because, of course, it can be daunting a little bit, because going abroad is always a challenge, and you sort of leave your friends behind and everything, so it can be a little bit scary. But there's a lot of reasons why you would want to go international. So first of all, obviously, English comprehension and also expression. Your English level as a whole will improve because you're immersed in the English language. You have all your classes in English, obviously, and all your friends will be English speakers, most of them. So it's definitely a great help for your English. You will need, however, a good enough English level at the start of your mobility, because if you barely understand English, it's going to be difficult. But if you have a decent level, it's going to definitely improve it. Second, it may or may not interest you, but you will definitely discover new cultures. Because all your friends are, most of your friends are from this country that you will go to, in my case the US, you will learn through them how different or similar things are between your two countries. And thanks to learning those differences, you will understand why things are the way they are. And thanks to that, you will get a new perspective on the world, which I know sounds a bit cheesy, but it's true. You will also get the opportunity to explore the world, because since you're in a new country, in a new environment, there's so much things to do. So this is what I did. I went to the Grand Canyon, notably, and also the Table Mountain in South Africa when I did my internship this summer. So now, how can you go? There are several ways. The first most important thing about student mobility, which is what I did, is that you get free tuition, which is especially important in the United States, because tuition can be very expensive in this country. I think in my university, I was in St. Francis University in Pennsylvania, and tuition was $49,000 a year. So it's definitely helpful to not pay that much to study there. You will also get a student contract, and what the student contract will do is that it will transfer the credits that you get from the classes abroad and give you those credits in your base university or school here. And finally, they provide accommodation. You will have to most likely pay for it, but you won't have to think about how you're gonna live there. They're gonna provide everything you need. So, about the estimated costs, it largely depends on the country you're going to. In my case, it was around 15,000 euros for the US. But obviously, if you're going to South Africa or some different country like that, where everything is much cheaper, you won't need that much money. These 15,000 euros is only the baseline. If you want to do anything more, such as go on adventures during a spring or fall break, of course you're going to need a bit more money, but this is, you decide. Now, about scholarships. The scholarships depends on the base university. So for my case, it was the University of Albi, Jean-François Champollion. And I got 300 euros per month to help me from Champollion. And you can also get scholarships depending on the target university that you want to go to. But yeah, it depends on the university you want to go to. Sometimes they will help, sometimes not. So now about opportunities that you get from this internship. So obviously you'll meet other international students because you probably won't be the only one going to this specific university from abroad. And your first friends will be international students. And it's a good thing that they will be your friends because you have sort of the same goals. Because they are just like you. They want to explore the country. They want to learn new things. So it's definitely great. You can also get opportunities for internships for future years. If you get good grades, of course. If you fail, I'm not sure they will take you again. But especially in the case of the US, the biggest problem or difficulty will be immigration, because immigrating to the US is a pain. But they have people, they have international offices that will help you overcome these problems. And they will usually, in the case of the US, pay you by giving you free housing and meals, but they won't really pay you. They will pay you by services, if I can say that. So finally, interesting stuff in the form of pictures. This is the set of pictures I chose from St. Francis. So to the left, this is Walmart, actually, which is a supermarket, a big chain of supermarket in the US. And you cannot see it very well, but this is supposed to be French bread. And yeah, you will definitely miss real French bread abroad. There's no country that makes bread as good as us. Second, you have the science building in the middle to the top. So this is the science building from St. Francis, and you can see that everything is, since they pay so much to study, they have a lot of money to make very beautiful buildings and parks and everything. So they're usually very pretty, very beautiful, the university. Now in the middle, in the bottom, you have a picture of winter in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania gets very cold in the winter, down to minus 20 degrees. So it's definitely a change compared to France, where if we get some negative temperatures, it's already considered very cold. And finally, to the right, you have me cooking for them, because they didn't know how to make, not that they didn't know, but they didn't really have any salad or anything, so I was cooking salad for them, French salad, and they liked it, I think. They gave me feedback, and they told me that it was very good. But yeah, food is you're definitely gonna miss food from France if you go at least to the US or South Africa. I don't know about other countries, but yeah, you're gonna miss food. Now, spring break in California. I told you that international students being your friends was a big plus, and indeed I went to California with my Italian friends that I met in St. Francis. During spring break, we spent 10 days exploring, and we went to Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. So to the left here, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. The picture is a bit dark, but in the middle, you have me in the middle of the Grand Canyon. And finally, to the right, you can see Palm Beach. You can see Palm Beach, and you can see that it's not especially cold, even if we were in February or March. Now, about the internship in South Africa. To the left, you have Cape Point, which is the southernmost point in South Africa. So I went all the way down to the very bottom of South Africa. In the middle, you have our Minister of the Environment that I met during the finals of the Football World Cup. I don't know why he was there, but I just took the opportunity to take a picture with him. And finally, you have a picture to the right, which is a picture of Cape Town taken from the top of Table Mountain. The mountain is just right above the city, and you can see that it's a very big city and a very impressive landscape. So thank you for your attention. This concludes my presentation. If you have any question, I'm sure we will have microphones going through the room. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, so I'm sure maybe you were a little bit impressed by Professor Braille, but you probably have a lot of questions, at the very least, about spring break. So usually we have a very nice spring break picture, but because you're very young and we didn't want to hurt your feelings, we decided to put something else. So they didn't see the spring break, actually.
Yeah.
So, and also but you can ask questions about spring break if you want. Mm-hmm. So do you have questions? Yes. Panda Man.
What did you study actually abroad?
What did I study?
Yeah.
Not the same thing as in ISIS, actually, because we don't have the same classes as we have here, but what you do when you go abroad with student mobility is that you sign a student contract between your school and their school. So you actually choose, because in an American university it's kind of different. You choose the classes you want. So what I did is that I chose the classes that interested me and that I thought were useful for my courses in ISIS. So, yeah, and I just picked what I want, actually, and then I submitted that to Mr. Sanger.
Yes.
And he approved that, so, we signed and it was done.
Okay, so I have a question, actually. So maybe, first thing, was it your first trip to the United States?
Yes.
Good.
Indeed.
That was an easy answer. Now comes the next one. So maybe what would be interesting for them is to get your impression of what you experienced, of what was different in relationships, the way you relate, for example, first, the way you relate to American people, students and teachers, and then how do you meet other European students?
So I'll answer first about how I met other European students, because that's the easiest. We meet in the very beginning because they have some sort of a briefing for every new international students. So that's where I met them, just right at the beginning. Now, for the differences between the relationships, it was about the relationships between with Americans. It's sort of different because they, how can I say, they have a different relationship to friendship, I think. They give their friendliness, they are very much more friendly than Europeans, I think, when you first meet them, but it's very hard to make true friends out of them. Compared to Europeans, where it's it's a little bit the opposite, and it's harder to meet them the first time, but once you met them a couple times, and you know they are your friends, they will help you and everything. And this is not the case with Americans. You have to work hard to make friends out of them, if I can say that.
Okay. More questions? No more questions? Okay. Thank you, Nicolas. Oh. No. You know.
Well, first, thank you very much. That was a very interesting, and I hope that all the students enjoyed hearing about your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Then my question concerns more when you moved from America directly to South Africa. Did you have a kind of culture shock? Was it, and what kind of? I mean, obviously it was very different. And how? In what way was it different?
So I didn't move directly from the U.S. to South Africa.
You went back to France first?
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 weeks between the two trips. But South Africa is not that different from the U.S. Actually, it's kind of similar. The biggest culture shock, if that is one, is that they are much more relaxed in their how can I say, like with the law. They are much more relaxed because the US is very like strict with laws, whereas in South Africa they're more lenient, way more lenient compared to the US.
It was probably also because you were a student, so I guess you were in a sort of student type of circle.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we were a little bit isolated from the rest of society. We were inside a university as well.
Yeah, I guess that's often what happens when you are. This is typical of the life of a student abroad.
Mm-hmm.
You're a part of a campus, and you're really into the student life, and it's like a little world apart, I guess, from the rest of society.
Yeah.
Or
definitely.
Sure, of course.
Okay, thank you. I've got 2 or 3 questions at the same time.
Okay.
So, what are you going to do next? What are you doing now? And if you had the opportunity, would you do it again?
Oh, yeah. If I had the opportunity, I would definitely do it again. It was wonderful. And actually, I kind of miss it already, even though it's only been like 2 or 3 months since I finished it. I mean, I finished the 2 projects. Sorry. But what was the first question again? Sorry.
What are you doing now?
Oh.
Are you sure you're finishing your studies or?
Yeah, I'm finishing my studies right now. I'm in my last year, and I'm currently looking for an internship actually in the US because I want to go back again. And as I said, I might have one in St. Francis, which is the university I went to. But yeah, it's complicated to immigrate in the U.S. because they have very restrictive laws for work visas. So it's complicated. I don't know if I'll go yet, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so I think we can thank Nicolas for this presentation. Thank you so much.